OK です。
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you all for coming today. By the way, my name is Narita from UI Japan. This is my first week in Philippines. I'm glad to be here. I'm here to present to you some of my favorite hobbies. Today, I'll introduce to you the different kinds of marine activity and sports. By the end of my presentation, you will be familiar with the different kind of marine sports and activity that would suit you. I divided my presentation into three parts. First is what is marine sports or activity. Next, second is I'm going to introduce the different kinds of marine sports. And lastly, I will give my recommendation. Now let's start. What is marine sports or activity? I define that sports or activity that are carried out on water, especially in the sea. In my presentation, you will notice that I only included the sports or activity only carried out only in the sea, not in swimming pool. Now let's move on to my next slide. Different kinds of marine sports. I divided this into three parts: sports in and on and under the water. Yes. Let's start with sports in the water. In the water, first is swimming. Swimming is a self-propulsion of a person through water or another liquid, usually for the purpose of recreation, sport, exercise, or survival. Second is snorkeling. Snorkeling is practice of swimming on or through a body of water while equipped with diving mask, a shapen tube called snorkel, and usually fins. In cooler waters, a wetsuit may also be worn. On the next slide, I'll introduce the sports on the water. First is parasailing. Parasailing is, has anyone of you tried this? Try? Oh, me too. Yeah. Sorry, me too. Parasailing, also known as parasailing or parakiting, is a recreational kiting activity where a person is stowed behind the vehicle while attached to a specially designed canopy wing. That reminds one of a parachute, known as a parasail wing. Next is my favorite among these is surfing. Surfing is a surface water sport in which the wave rider referred to as a surfer ride on the forward or deep face of a moving wave, which usually carries surfer towards the shore. Yeah. Next is jet ski. jet ski is the brand name of a personal watercraft manufactured by Kawasaki. It is originally a name of brand, not that the activity itself. Did you know that? Oh, me too. I find it. I'm sorry for Okabe to introduce your Yamaha Corporation's competitor, Kawasaki.
Yamaha Motors competitor.
Motors, sorry, Motors competitor. Yeah. But because Kawasaki is commonly used, people get used to call it jet ski. Jet ski is a small self-propelled vehicle, one person resembling a scooter, which skims across water on flat heel, and it's steered by means of handlebars. The final part of the kinds of marine sports is under the water activity. Under the water, first on the list is scuba diving. Scuba diving is a form of underwater diving in which a diver uses a self-contained underwater breathing apparatus to breathe under the water. This is a picture of my wife and I in Hawaii with sea turtle. Thank you. Next is free diving. Free diving is a form of underwater diving that relies on a diver's ability to hold his or her breath until resurfacing, rather than on the use of breathing apparatus such as scuba gear. Last but not the least is spearfishing. Spearfishing is an ancient method of fishing that has been used throughout the world for millennia. Early civilizations were familiar with the custom of spearing fish from rivers and streams using sharpened stick. What do you think is the best water sports for you?
Scuba diving.
Scuba diving. Yes, yeah, good. I recommend that. In the beginning of my presentation, I told you that I will give my recommendation for you. The next part of this presentation is recommendation. First, swimming is good for health. I suggest everyone to learn this for only recreational reason, but also for survival. Snorkeling is for people who like underwater scenery. It's easier than scuba diving. Parasailing is for people who want to fly, but it's safer than skydiving. Surfing is for people who like active sports and good at balancing. You need. Jet ski. If you like motorbikes, why not drive motor on the water? Spearfishing is only for hunters. if you're a hunter, that's right. Scuba diving. People who want to see deeper and wider under scenery. Underwater scenery. It's a little bit more challenging than snorkeling. free diving is for professional divers only. Yes. Could you find the marine sports or activity and that would suit you?
Yes.
You find? Yes. If you find it, please try sooner. I hope my presentation is helpful to you. Thank you.